officials for today's ball game. Don Baden, Benny Adams.
Wizards and Bulls set to tip off after this break. For those of you getting the Lakers and the Spurs, we send you to the Alamo Dome and Mike Breen.
Let's not get into our defense set early, okay? Let's make the work.
One town that will never ever let you down. It's my kind of town. Chicago, Chicago, Chicago.
We welcome you back to the United Center in Chicago, where moments ago, Michael Jordan, wearing a Washington Wizards uniform, received a thunderous ovation when he was introduced by Bulls public address announcer Ray Clay. Yes, a stirring homecoming for number 23. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones. And Bill, up until the past week, the Wizards were on a roll, but they have dropped 4 in a row. They come off the 44-point clobbering of the hands of the New Jersey Nets. Michael Jordan has not shot well the past couple of days, but you know that he's looking to light it up here in Chicago against his former team.
Marv, Michael told us that this will be different. This will be like a playoff game. He also told us it will be very difficult because this is where it all came together for Michael. He's got great loyalty to the fans here and to the city of Chicago, but he can't succumb to the temptation to go it alone here. He's the master of these emotional moments, and he's the master of peak performance on command. Michael Jordan is fresh. He is ready. I expect vintage Michael Jordan.
Peak performance on command. Steve, for the Bulls, it has been another dismal season, but since Bill Cartwright took over as head coach, they've been showing some signs as of late. A victory over the Lakers, an overtime victory over the Bucks, and they actually won a road game the other night in Atlanta. They were 0 for 18 on the road.
Well, Marv, with Mr. Bill at the helm of the good ship Lollipop, there's no mutiny. This is a basketball team that is now on the same page. He has simplified things, and what this afternoon represents for them is a big game. And the bigger the game, the better they would like it as they think about this team and expansion for the future. And we hope that's not going to be 2002 in their first playoff game.
I think if they had not turned the lights off getting ready to introduce the Bulls, they'd still be cheering for Michael Jordan. Here is Artest over Jordan. And kicked out of bounds by Charles Oakley. Oakley making his return following the 2-game suspension, involved along with Brad Miller, and that melee with Shaquille O'Neal. Chris Whitney in the backcourt, along with Hubert Davis. Michael Jordan up front, but Jahidi White has played well recently, and Popeye Jones. Jordan not able to hit his first shot. White on the rebound, and he's fouled, hit from behind.
Not a lot of players in this game today have experience at this level of intensity, this level of scrutiny. Jahidi White at the free throw line right now, though, has been playing terrific ball, pounding the boards. He had a solid game against San Antonio earlier in the week.
Tuesday night in Washington, the Wizards lost to the San Antonio Spurs by 5. Jordan struggled in that game, 5 for 21 from the floor, missed 6 free throws. Michael said, I stunk it up.
Well, you know why Jahidi White has gotten better? He knows what he's supposed to do. He just stays in that basket area. He's going to do what he just did, try to put back a shot or get a pass and dunk it.
Bulls come in at 8-30. That is the worst record in the NBA. They have won 2 of their last 3, as I mentioned a moment ago. Did win in Atlanta on Thursday. Artest tried to squeeze his way.
That has to be a jump ball.
Yeah, he's tied up. They will jump it up.
Don Baden stepping right in to restore order here. When you get your shot blocked in the air and then you come right back down to it, that is an automatic jump ball call.
Don Baden, Benny Adams, Tony Brothers are the officials. In the earlier meeting between these two clubs, early January in Washington, the Wizards won by 6. Ron Artest was matched with Michael Jordan. Plays Jordan very physically. Jordan did score 29, although some of it came against the rookie Trent Hassel. Artest felt he could do better. He said he was too hyped up. And remember, during the offseason, Artest inadvertently caught Michael with that elbow, injuring his ribs.
It's a very big Bull team, top to bottom on the roster. They're playing zone defense here. Will Cartwright telling us that zone defense has caused a lot of problems for Bulls opponents.
What the Bulls do better is they use their physical size to really kind of bully and badger their opponent through the 48 minutes. But what they haven't done better is shoot the basketball. So they're going to have to shoot it well this afternoon in order to win and send the crowd home with joy and disappointment for Michael Jordan.
Here's Whitney for three.
I don't think the fans are going home from here, Steve. I think they're going straight to Soldier Field.
Many will be. That's a huge sports day in Chicago. Michael Jordan's return, followed by the Bears and the Eagles playing to get to the NFC Championship game for the Bears. Their first home playoff game since back in 1991, when you guys were just kids.
Did you call that game, Marv?
No, I did not. Heidi White putting moves on Brad Miller. Comes up short on the reverse.
Hard to imagine how that's not a traveling violation on Brad Miller.
What the Bulls have to do is figure out a way to get a score. I mean, it's a 2-0 ball game right now, and both teams are struggling to score, and most of it's coming from the perimeter.
Wizards missing their first 5 shots.
How about Jordan in the post? Establish some sort of pattern as to how this game is going to be played.
Beautiful pass, and Popeye Jones is fouled by Charles Oakley.
We expect a low-scoring game today. Chicago, one of the worst offensive teams in the league, and the Wizards not much better.
We? Who is we, Tonto?
Bill feels that he's speaking for the entire crew. The other night, the Nets hit their first 13 shots against the Wizards in that 111-67 victory that Doug Collins and the Wizards would like to forget about. Sparing no expense, we have double coverage on the sidelines this afternoon. We're joined by both Jim Gray and Lewis Johnson. Let's check in with Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. Well, Doug Collins says he doesn't want Michael Jordan to try and do too much too early. If he has to pull him out early in the game, if he feels his energy level is too high, he will. He doesn't want him to be exhausted for the second half. Now, as for Michael said he's in a kind of difficult situation today. He told us before the game that his responsibilities are now to the Washington Wizards and that organization, and he really wants to win, but his loyalty truly is with the Bulls. He doesn't have any regrets on any of the decisions that he made. He's happy that he took the time off. He wished it might have worked out a little bit differently, but absolutely no regrets. Let's go over to Lewis Johnson.
Well, Jim, you know, Michael talks now of being a teacher of the game, and one of those young Wizards under his tutelage is injured guard Richard Hamilton. Hamilton says that he wishes he could get out and play in this game tonight, but he understands that this is one of those magical moments in the gym that Michael built. He'll have to watch instead of playing. Mark?
All right, guys. Richard Hamilton sitting out with a partly torn right groin. They'll hope he'll be back next week. We'll be back in a moment.
I think it's more like a playoff atmosphere. I think we beat them, back in Washington, and I'm pretty sure that the media ate it up here in Chicago in terms of where our franchise was going and where their franchise was going. And today, I'm pretty sure they want some retribution, and so it's going to be a good playoff. And most of the fans probably want to see me score 60 and see the Bulls win. And it's a temptation for me to try to do that. But obviously, with me scoring 60, I think that's going to take a lot of other guys out of the rhythm. So I'm going to try to refrain from doing that and stay focused and keep the guys involved, and not try to make this a Michael Jordan against the Chicago Bulls.
And earlier in the season, that was the problem. Guys was standing around watching Michael, and as a result, at one point they lost 8 in a row before they were able to turn things around. To this point, Jordan has attempted 1 shot. It's a 6-0 Wizard lead. Not much going on here at the Chicago end of the court.
How can this be anything other than Michael Jordan at the Chicago Bulls? You take him out of this game, and I don't know if you'd be here today or not, but I know Steve would be.
Here is Brad Miller. And Miller on the follow. The Bulls cannot buy one. Look out. Jones and Miller going down, and the Bulls, only for the first quarter, they missed their first 8 shots.
This is when the Bulls have the Wizards right where they want them. They got them thinking they're not going to score some points, and you can hear Cartwright really shouting some commands to his team to try to get that first score, because once they break the ice, Bill, they're winning this game.
How can you hear Bill Cartwright? The guy's had 5 throat operations on his larynx. You can't speak at all unless you're right next to him.
Here's Miller. Miller again. And a foul. Brad doing a nice job rebounding on his own missed shots. Bill Cartwright, as you mentioned, has a problem with his throat that he's had for a number of years. He actually picked up a technical foul last week. He's not able to raise his voice because of that fractured larynx. So he was vehemently stamping his foot, and the referee, Danny Crawford, teed him up.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they have ex-Bull Pete Myers now on the bench. One of his jobs, Pete Myers, just to our left of Bill Cartwright, he's the designated yeller over there. They've got him over there screaming because Bill Cartwright just cannot risk raising that voice.
Here's Pete Myers. One-time Chicago Bull, a guy who played Michael Jordan very tough in practice. You can hear the sarcastic roar from the crowd off the Bulls' first point. The Wizards coming at 18-18. A win today would equal their win total for all of last season as Michael Jordan hits on his first field goal. Guys, last year the Wizards won their 19th and final game on April the 13th.
It was a hard season, and the one thing that Collins and Jordan have done is get these guys to believe that they can be a better basketball team, that they can come out and compete.
But with Jordan executing perfectly up at the high post, Kevin Ollie really has no chance. Bill Cartwright told us that he wants to put more size against Jordan. Jordan doesn't have the explosiveness to get by players anymore, so now trying to play guys like Ron Artest against him. Artest unable to get the first free throw to fall.
Talking about the Wizards last season, just 19 wins. They've already won 18. They've already surpassed their road win total of last season. After they began at 2-9, lost 8 in a row, they bounced back. They won 9 straight, 13 of 15. They went from being a curiosity because of Jordan to a legitimate playoff contender within about a 3-week stretch.
But the last 4 games have been a nightmare for Doug Collins. They've played really the elite teams in the league: Milwaukee, Minnesota, San Antonio, New Jersey, and the Wizards haven't even been close.
Artest on the strip of Jordan. Here's Artest putting the move on Jordan. Little contact, but no call made. And now the foul against the Wizards. It's on Popeye Jones.
What is going on here? Jordan gets hacked across the wrist to lose the ball. Artest pork chops him in the chin as Artest is going to the hoop. And no fouls called.
It's no respect. The hand is part of the ball. Come on.
That's the forearm, Steve.
And you can see that Artest is willing to come right at Michael Jordan. Right through him. Missed a shot.
Christian Laettner making his return this afternoon is just checked in. Christian has been out nearly a month. He's missed the last 14 games with a broken left foot. So he has come on for the first time. Oakley from deep. Whoa, they are 0 for 11 from the field.
Just missed.
Artest 0 for 5 out of those 11 missed shots.
Well, you know, for Artest, the last time he was too amped up. And Cartwright told us yesterday, after about 6 minutes, he was spent. So we need to keep our eye on Ron Artest in terms of what his energy level is and whether he starts to hyperventilate over there.
In the last year of Jordan's run here in Chicago, the team won 62 games on their way to their 6th championship. In the 4 years since then, the team has won 53 games total. 9 games less than they won in one season over 4 years. Ouch.
Brendan Haywood has come on for Jahidi White, who committed that foul a moment ago. Haywood, the outstanding rookie out of North Carolina, defending on Brad Miller, forces the shot. Artest not able to hit it, kicked around. Artest is fouled.
Well, Artest is making a point for his argument that he's on the verge of becoming an all-star.
Yeah, he did make that statement.
It was interesting for a team that's won 8 games and Artest hasn't played much.
Well, Jordan has picked up his 2nd foul on this play right here, trying to close out on Ron Artest. Now, you talked about this being a playoff game. Normally, you'd be yelling, those aren't fouls. But
That's not foul. That's not a foul.
So, Jordan, we're going to sit down. Where was the foul?
Michael picked up his second. An ugly start here at the United Center. Chicago 0 for 13. We have 6:22 remaining in this first quarter and 11 points on the scoreboard. It is now 8-4 Wizards.
Marv, you sound surprised. Chicago is second to the last in scoring per game, third to the last in field goal percentage, third to the last in free throw percentage, and second to the last in three-point percentage. So this is not a good offensive squad.
But this is the kind of start that they had against the Los Angeles Lakers, which they ended up winning the ball game and scoring 106 points in it. So don't be mesmerized by the first quarter play and the foreplay of the Bulls early.
Steve, bringing you back to reality, Bill. Always like to see that as Brad Miller is able to hit it. And the Wizards now lead 8-6.
Well, Brad Miller has taken a giant leap forward this year. A commitment to physical fitness and weight training in the offseason has elevated himself from just a backup, middle-of-the-pack player, now a real quality asset.
Leitner with his first shot of the ball game. Kevin Ollie starting for the injured Greg Anthony. Ollie and Mercer in the backcourt. Miller, Oakley, and Artest up front. Mercer whipping by Hayward. Ron Mercer, in his fifth year out of Kentucky, leads the Bulls, averaging 17 points per game. Doug Collins wants to talk it over. A 7-0 run by Chicago. The Bulls and the Wizards tied at 8. 5:12 remaining in the first.
The Chicago Bulls picked Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
And Michael would make his NBA debut against the then Washington Bullets. Welcome to the league by the Bullets' Jeff Ruland. But a glimpse of what was to come was evident in that game as Jordan scored 16 points, came up with 7 assists in a 109-93 Bulls victory. The start of a magnificent NBA career for Michael Jordan. Sitting down now after picking up a second foul, 1 for 2 from the field. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter, and the game is tied at 8. Tyrone Nesby has checked in for the first time for Washington. Davis off the dribble. Nesby is open. Yes.
The Wizards solving the zone defense that time with some penetration and dish. Michael Jordan coming right back. Remember, in the game against Chicago when he got his 30,000th career point, Michael started very slowly. Missed 5 or 6 of his first shots, and then had 19 points in the second quarter.
Ollie not able to hit. Miller with yet another rebound. Oakley behind the back and coughed it up.
Oakley does that. You know, he'll give a little too cute Eddie Robinson in the ball game, and they expect him to score some points while Ron Artest gets a breather.
Eddie Robinson making it back after that fractured left big toe, and they trade turnovers.
Back-to-back turnovers for Charles Oakley.
Chicago's defense, the zone in the back line as Michael Jordan comes back in.
And when Michael sat down earlier in this first quarter, he's waving it off to looking at Doug Collins at the bench, said, I don't want to come out. I have 2 fouls. I can handle it. But Doug took him out, and he's back in the ball game.
And Doug told us last night that there is no time this season that Michael has challenged his decision-making authority all season.
Here's Davis for 3. Mercer picked up by Jordan.
Nothing at the basket for the Wizards.
Hayward got a piece of it. Mercer with a second field goal. He has 4, and the game is tied at 10.
Mercer is your basic gunner out there. This is a guy that once he gets it, it's not going anywhere except to the hoop. Unfortunately, he's not a long-range shooter nor a high-percentage shooter.
And for Mercer, the Bulls, his 4th team in 5 years.
I guess a lot of people want him, huh?
That is, I'm sure, the optimistic way that an athlete being traded will look at it. Steve, could you relate to that?
Not when he's telling the story. You know, when you call a guy an optimistic gunner, what are you saying? Because this is what his job is. He's supposed to shoot. His percentage is the same as Michael Jordan's, 40% from the field. You don't say that about Jordan.
Have you ever called Jordan a gunner?
Marcus Fizer has checked in for the first time. Mosby hitting once again, and the Wizards now lead by the score of 12-10.
When we get a chance, Marv, I'll tell you what a gunner really means in his eyes.
Here's Robinson firing. Well, you talk about a lot of shot attempts, but it's certainly the quality of the shots, and I don't think that you could compare the quality of the shots that Michael Jordan takes as Michael's able to hit over Eddie Robinson to Ron Mercer, who's tamed down, though, the last couple of years.
Well, a gunner and an optimistic gunner is anybody 6'6" and below. And so if you're not 7 feet tall, you're definitely a gunner and build up.
Ron Mercer was punched down by one of his own teammates, George McLeod, playing for the Denver Nuggets. So
Mercer is stripped, and here's a two, making a 3-on-1. Jordan for Nexby.
Beautiful passing. Now, do you think Mercer would have given that ball up?
Of course he would. He had the same play.
Wizards up 16-10, and Bill Cartwright takes a timeout. So Michael Jordan here in the first quarter, 2 for 3 from the floor. He has 4 points, 2 personal fouls.
Finally, something going into the post. Jordan gets the ball, and that baseline cut by Hubert Davis gives Jordan all the space he needs, because the defender has to step off to honor that back cut because of Michael Jordan's brilliant passing capabilities. If you know the guy's never going to give it up, you don't take that step off.
Now, we're still talking about gunners.
Yeah, 6'6" and below.
The Bulls missed their first 13 shots. They're now 3 of 18. Wizards at 6 of 13 from the field. Well, you can log on to NBA.com to vote for the Ultimate All-Star team and see the results on the Fans Ultimate All-Star Preview with Ahmad Rashad. That'll be February 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern right here on NBC, all at NBA.com.
Pass it into the game now. Block shot by Brendan Haywood, continuing to show his multiple talents.
Trent Hassel, the rookie from Austin Peay, attempting that shot, which was rejected. Leitner.
Michael Jordan saying, didn't Horace Grant used to make that shot 98% of the time?
Fizer draws the double.
Fizer's part of that young, athletic, and really big group of players that they have that are still trying to figure it out. But this guy at 6'8", as you look at Tyson Chandler, and about 260 pounds, has got range, and he can handle the ball.
Marcus Fizer in his second year out of Iowa State. Actually recruited by and played as a freshman for the former head coach of the Bulls, Tim Floyd, at Iowa State. 16-12. Wizards with the lead as we come up on a minute remaining in this first quarter, and a foul is called. Jordan on that pump fake, drawing the foul against Robinson.
That he should never make, Mark.
He doesn't like the pump fakes.
He waited until the end of the first quarter to start pump faking. Early on, he's stroking the jumper, took the first 3 that he touched the ball at in the low post, no pump faking. Once you make a few shots, then you start that pump fake.
And Jordan, 81% at the line. I mentioned earlier that he had the rough go against the Spurs last Tuesday night, 10 of 16, and misses on both. This is Hassel.
Now they're trying to get the ball inside to Fizer, down on the post, let him use some of that size and mobility against Leitner.
Haywood just too big, seals everything off out in front.
Coming up on 30 seconds remaining in this opening quarter.
Still, Washington unable to get into any give-and-go type action, which was Michael Jordan's real strength.
Haywood able to retrieve. They get the new shot clock. Pass intended for Jordan. So the Bulls can hold for a final shot of the quarter.
Is this that high-scoring game you were anticipating?
Why are you looking at me?
It's coming, Bill.
The game has hit a little bit of a lull here.
From the opening tip. Chicago missing their first 13 shots in contrast to what the Wizards faced against the Nets the other night. They hit their first 13. Final seconds. After one, here in Chicago, it's the Wizards 16 and the Bulls 12. Chicago just 4 for 22 from the field. Washington 6 of 15. We'll be back to the United Center in a moment.
United Center, I'm Jim Gray as we get ready for the second quarter. I'm joined by unique distinction. He's Johnny Kern. He's the announcer for the Bulls, a former coach here. Johnny has seen every single point that Michael Jordan made, both at home and on the road, as a Chicago Bull. Johnny, how odd is it for you to see Michael Jordan out there in a Wizards uniform today?
It looks like I'm watching a negative. He's in the wrong uniform. I've seen him in this one so many times, and I don't know. It's a strange feeling, but the fans certainly appreciated his comeback here with the introduction.
Is this, there's a sense of melancholy, I'm sure. Is this a happy moment for you or somewhat sad?
No, it's terrific. Michael wanted to come back. People say, what do you think? I said, I think it's great that he can do that and perform the way he's performed. I'd like to see him get 60 tonight, and then he would have the most as a home player and the most as a visitor player in the same building. That'd be great.
Now, his tradition was to always slap the rosin powder that he used on his hands kind of in your face. It became a lovable thing. Did he do that tonight?
No, I'm sitting over here with you, and it was a little distance to walk, but I think there was other things on his mind. It would have been fun, though. I was saving that and bottling it. Anybody wants to buy it, write to me.
Johnny, great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
Mark, back to you.
All right, Johnny Red Kerr, huge favorite here in Chicago in his 28th season as a Bulls broadcaster, outstanding player, and as you saw, first head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Wizards with an 18-12 lead as the second quarter gets underway. You may wonder, 12 points, it's a pretty low number. That's not the low for the year for the Bulls. They had a 6-point quarter earlier this season against New Jersey. Nice pass from Jones, and Haywood is fouled.
Sorry I missed that 6-point quarter, but with the Bulls shooting 16% and the Washington Wizards moving the ball a lot better, they've established a comfortable cushion here.
A comfortable cushion. They were ahead 8-0, and the Bulls caught up. It's only a 6-point lead. We got a ton of game to play as we take a look at what Haywood did in December, and he probably was a surprise as he became co-rookie of the month for the rest of the league. Nobody really knew who he was, what he could do, and he really performed well in December.
Brendan Haywood and Shane Battier of the Memphis Grizzlies sharing that honor. Eddie Curry has come on for the first time, the 6'11", 19-year-old. Ron Lue with Fred Hoiberg, who just checked in back. Now Jordan, guarded by Hassel. Lue played on a switch by Pfizer. Popeye Jones is open.
This is Lue's first action in a week. He's got a groin and a hamstring problem. Didn't practice yesterday in the scrimmage, was able to go through some of the light drills, but he's just going to give it a try today, and hopefully it'll hold up.
The Bulls are really trying to find somebody that can make a basket on a consistent basis. Eddie Robinson is more of a slashing, driving kind of player.
All right, here's Jordan on a pull-up. 6 points for Michael, 3 for 4 from the field, and the Wizards lead 21-12.
Eddie Robinson is trying to make Michael Jordan-like moves. Eddie Robinson doesn't have the foundation, doesn't have the skill level, doesn't have the time put in. He's got to work on his shot selection, Robinson.
Strong move by Marcus Pfizer. And the Wizards now lead 21-14. Eddie Robinson comes off a solid game, 16 points, 17 minutes in that win in Atlanta the other night. Jones missed the tip. And here's Robinson. Robinson. Oh, 0 for 5 from the field.
That is not the same Eddie Robinson that played for the Charlotte Hornets last year, that was playing so well in the open court. This is a guy that does well when he drives the ball and when he just has open shots, not trying to make his own way.
Ron Lou. Just awful shooting at both ends.
Well, one thing that's hurting Eddie Robinson is that this is a point guardless team. The Chicago Bulls. Greg Anthony just injured his Achilles tendon the other day, and he's out for an indeterminate time.
This is Curry over Hayward, firing one up.
Just missed.
Bill, you're enjoying this, I can tell.
Well, I'm concerned about the shooting.
I'm concerned about the backboard. 8:44 remaining in the first half. The Wizards by 7. Michael Jordan's number 23 is, of course, the number he is most identified with, but not the only number he wore during the course of his career. Back in 1995, he donned the number 45 upon his first return to the NBA. And, guys, a little-known fact, in 1990, Jordan wore number 12 for one game after his jersey was stolen from his locker in Orlando.
You weren't there that night, were you, Marv?
No. But we bring you all possible information.
Don't you just hate that when somebody takes your jersey?
Never had that experience myself.
And he never got it returned.
Right. 8:44 remaining in the first half, and the Wizards with a 21-14 lead on the Bulls in what has been a horrendous shooting first half. Michael Jordan now 3 for 6 from the field.
Well, Bill Cartwright changed up the lineup again. Mercer's in the ball game with Artest, and Pfizer stayed out there, so they've got a better complement, and maybe these guys are going to get some sort of offensive rhythm inside and out.
But both teams play too much off the dribble. When you're struggling offensively, don't try to make the incredibly difficult shots that Eddie Robinson's been trying. How about some ball movement? How about some screens away from the ball, some flashes from the weak side?
Nesby called for the foul. Just got to look at Bill Cartwright, who took over from Tim Floyd. Since he took over, the Bulls have won 4 and lost 7, which is very promising when you consider the way this club has gone, and they have shown a tougher defensive mentality. Of course, today it's hard to tell because the Wizards are getting good looks. They're just not hitting their shots. I don't know if you can say it's the Bulls' defense in this case.
Well, I think it's great defense.
Yeah. And Jordan has 8 points. The 4 wins for Chicago since Bill Cartwright took over. Last Saturday's overtime win over the Lakers. The big one, a win over Milwaukee, a road victory in Atlanta. And a foul is called. It's an offensive foul on Ron Artest.
Artest is like a bull in a china shop. He'll just try to run you down. Tim Floyd, 4 games out of 25. And so it's got to be a big improvement around here in terms of the way the players have responded to Bill Cartwright.
But the improvement has been the sense of relief. The exasperation of what was going on here in the Floyd era, just way too complicated. Bill Cartwright has simplified everything.
Ron Lou is able to hit, and the Wizards now lead 25-14. Bill Cartwright began as an assistant under Phil Jackson, played 6 years for the Bulls, actually acquired from the Knicks in the trade for Charles Oakley. And Bill, a key member of 3 Chicago NBA championship teams. Ball back to the Wizards. Jahidi White is up front with Popeye Jones and Tyrone Nesby, Michael Jordan, and Tyronn Lue in the backcourt.
Artest just supremely confident in his own physical abilities.
And Lue draws the foul.
But I like what I saw from Artest right there, out there challenging Michael Jordan in the backcourt, saying, hey, come on, I'm going to bump you with my chest. I'm going to use my forearms to keep you in front of me.
Ron Artest has been the Bulls' best player since recovering from finger surgery. Returned to the lineup late December. He's averaged 15 points, shooting 47%, although that will take a dent today. A reminder, Sunday night, right here on NBC. That's tomorrow night. Hollywood's biggest stars will get together for the 59th annual Golden Globe Awards. The Golden Globes tomorrow night at 7, 6 Central on NBC.
Well, Marcus Fizer is the only guy that has scored in the quarter for the Bulls. They've got 2 points, and Cartwright is still hopping mad, calls another timeout.
Well, his team is now 5 for 30 from the field and trailing by 12.
Lewis Johnson back in Chicago, actually inside the Bulls locker room. And Michael Jordan telling us this morning that one of the strangest things about returning to the United Center is that he had to go in the visitors locker room for the first time in his career. So you may wonder now, well, who's using Michael Jordan's old locker? The answer is no one. I was talking to Fred Hoiberg, who's been sitting here next to Michael's old locker for 3 years, and he said that he can imagine coming out and seeing Michael here with all the reporters. And Hoiberg said, you know, I couldn't get dressed, but what he cannot imagine is moving over just a few feet to this locker that Michael Jordan used to own. As a matter of fact, he says he has an imaginary line that he's drawn right here that he won't even let his bag cross, just out of respect, Marv.
Thanks, Lewis. No problem with Lewis Johnson being allowed in the Bulls locker room with the players on the court. Jim Gray's request to do that spot was turned down.
Well, maybe if you went over there, at least some of those points would rub off on Hoiberg. Nice drive volley, but he's like the rest of the Bulls, can't finish.
26-14, Wizards with the lead, 6.5 remaining in this first half. Bulls missed their first 13 shots and continue to have problems. Just 5 for 31. Popeye Jones. Not that the Wizards are lighting it up here at the United Center, but they do lead by 12.
You know, the Bulls just need a little spark to get in this game, and they'll be okay.
Steve, they have 14 points.
I understand 14 points, but again, Washington is struggling themselves to score right now, and it doesn't take much. One player getting warm, you're back in the ball game. It changes your whole competitive spirit, and that's what the Bulls are working for.
How come Tyson Chandler hasn't played yet? This guy was chosen second in the draft. How come Kwame Brown hasn't played yet? He was chosen first in the draft.
The steal by Ollie.
Oh, now this is a tough call. Tyronn Lue is running away from the play.
And the foul is called on Lue. Are you just posing questions for yourself? Well, is this like a string of
no, questions for you. I mean,
follow the Wizards. You know why Kwame Brown's not playing. You
Coach's decision.
Chandler's not playing.
They can't even get in the game.
Well, Kwame Brown is not ready.
In a game that's 26-14.
Here's Artest.
Not even give the guy a look.
Chicago now 1 for 11 from the field in the second quarter. Here's Tyronn Lue. I can recall the statement by Doug Collins a couple of weeks into the season that Kwame Brown, he said, is in excellent shape if he were going to play a 20-game high school schedule. That's one of the reasons he has not been playing. Hopefully. And Jordan with Nesby on the wing. Nesby. Offensive foul.
Charles Oakley, terrific throughout his career at this step under move. Once the guy gets in the air, Oakley falling back virtually as the contact is made.
Well, the key there is he was out in front of that arc there so he could get the charge against Nesby, who gave him a spark when he first came in. 3 straight field goals.
Miller forcing it over White.
Solid defense by Jahidi White. He's anchoring a very good defensive surge here by the Wizards.
How about 2 points in 7 minutes of the second quarter for Chicago? They scored 12 in the first quarter. They've scored only 2 here in the second. Jordan tried to draw the foul. It's a 3-on-1. Ollie, will it count? Foul is called in the act. So Kevin Ollie will head to the line. Foul on Nesby. Talking a moment ago about Tyson Chandler, the 7-foot rookie, 19 years old, and Eddie Curry, 19 years old. 6'11", 285 pounds, first-round picks, and Kwame Brown. In fact, as you can see, 3 of the top 5 picks in the 2001 draft are in this very building.
But the drafts really haven't worked out for the Chicago Bulls, because in the last 2 years, they've had 4 top 8 picks. And they couldn't even get one of those guys in the rookie game at All-Star Weekend either year.
Michael Jordan sitting down as we come up on 4 minutes remaining in this first half. And the Wizards lead 28-16. Ron Lou set it on the crossover, blocked by Miller. Here's Lou again. Yes.
And Lou is the firehouse here in the ball game. 7 points here in the quarter, and you know, providing that separation.
Artest for 3. Artest, after missing his first 6 shots, hits from downtown.
And that keeps him out of the record book. They were on pace to match the Dallas Mavericks for the worst quarter in NBA history.
Heidi White firing one up. And he draws the foul. Heidi White has come a long way in recent weeks. Steve, you mentioned earlier, had the big game against San Antonio, 15 points, 19 rebounds, played well.
He stays in this area, around the bucket, and really, I mean, you look at the shoulders and the size, you can tell that Brad Miller doesn't have much of a chance of holding any kind of position against him, so he uses all of that and gets a little cheerful response from Jordan. But the Wizards are a better free throw team that we have seen this afternoon. They're missing a lot of chances at the line.
Don't forget, Chicago leads the league in free throw defense.
What is that?
Their opponents shoot the worst free throw percentage of any team in the league. That's leading the league in free throw defense.
Steve, I think these early games have an effect on our partner. Too early for Bill. Brad Miller is fouled by Jahidi White.
Do you know that's the first time that information has ever been told in any basketball game?
For Jahidi, it is foul number 3. A reminder, next Saturday at 3 Eastern. It's an NBA on NBC doubleheader. Going to be Latrell Sprewell and the New York Knicks traveling to Milwaukee, facing the Milwaukee Bucks. And then in the nightcap, the mailman, Karl Malone, and the Jazz hosting Chris Webber, Pedro Stojakovic, and the Sacramento Kings. It's next Saturday, 3 Eastern on NBC. And coming up this Tuesday on Turner, 76ers and Wizards, Kings and the Blazers. That's Tuesday night on TBS. Michael Jordan is back. Bill, you mentioned the all-time low for fewest points in a quarter, which is held by Dallas. That was a 2-point quarter against the Lakers in Los Angeles in April of 1997. So the Bulls have passed that by.
So with Jahidi White now in foul trouble, Brendan Haywood comes in and gets another opportunity to show his contributions. 20th player chosen in the draft, but a 4-year player comes in much better prepared for this league than some of the high schoolers.
Mark, should we dare ask Bill how the Wizards free throw line defense is?
Washington will take a timeout. It has not been pretty in this first half. 3 minutes, 3 seconds remaining. Washington Wizards head coach Doug Collins, who says the main difference in his coaching style, he does not take losing as hard as he did in the past as coach of the Bulls and the Pistons. And the Wizards come in at 18-18. When they were 18-14, it represented their best start since the Washington Bullets opened up at 19-13 in the 1984-85 season.
But I think also with not taking it as hard, he doesn't take it as personal. I mean, you know, if you look at Doug Collins with Artest steals.
And blows the layup. Artest again. And he's headed to the line.
Michael had to be very careful there. He's already got 2 fouls, both of them cheap ones, and he certainly doesn't want to pick up another. Artest showing us something with his perimeter defense here, poking this ball away. His confidence, Artest, his ability to recover physically, that has to be a traveling violation.
What Artest is demonstrating is just energy. And if you go at Michael Jordan with a lot of energy, you can have some success. And that's what he's been able to do at the defensive end, able to draw the fouls at the offensive end because he's playing fearless.
Artest only a 64% free throw shooter, but converts on both. 8 points for Artest, although shooting just 1 for 9 from the field. And a reach-in foul is called on Kevin Ollie.
The Bulls came with a trap that time and caught the Wizards a little bit off guard. Tyronn Lue realized that the team was not set for a press offensive situation, so he just blasted right out of that double team and drew the foul.
Both teams are over the foul limit. Tyronn Lue, who was signed as a free agent, leaving the Los Angeles Lakers, had a good playoff run, played well in the finals, particularly matching up against Allen Iverson, although Iverson scored his points, but Lue did provide some problems.
But he and Hubert Davis have been remarkably valuable for Doug Collins in the turnaround after the long losing streak that the Wizards went through in the opening stages of the season.
Just under 3 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones, Jim Gray, Lewis Johnson working the sideline. Oakley with the save. Nice play, and they get the new shot clock. Artest backs it up for 3.
Washington is playing a zone defense on those 2 possessions, and not one player was outside of the defensive paint, and nobody wanted to shoot the ball for Chicago.
You know, there was a lot of guys that wanted to shoot it. They just aren't going to make it. And Artest had the most open shot.
Davis for Haywood, and he's fouled.
Both Haywood and White do this very well for the Wizards. They follow whoever has the ball into the basket area, and they have a chance to finish the play. Haywood at the end of it hit twice, Miller and Artest.
Michael Jordan, conversation with Doug Collins.
But when we were talking with Brendan Haywood, who makes the first free throw, and Jahidi White last night, they were saying that the team is much more comfortable right now and confident in the roles that Doug Collins has laid out for them. Plus, they're no longer terrified of the presence of Michael Jordan.
Yes, earlier in the season, problem was players were standing around and watching Jordan operate. Also, earlier in the season, when the Wizards were having a problems, Doug Collins had said, "This is the most fragile group of players that I have ever encountered." Very similar to our staff in the truck.
He obviously never played with Steve.
Yeah.
This is a zone again, and this time Ollie is able to crack it.
So the Bulls are now 7 of 42 from the field. Quick mathematics tells me 17% shooting.
And they should be long gone, but it's just an 8-point game. So they're hanging around, and the Wizards are not really dominating them in any area.
Christian Laettner making his return today with his first field goal. Well, the Wizards not shooting well either.
That fractured leg, he said, is feeling very good. The break occurred just below the knee on the tibia. He was kneed in a game one time. Now he's suffering from a very serious Charlie horse.
Oh, Artest with a nice move, but then got caught, and the foul is called.
Washington, the personal foul, Haywood, his first penalty.
Foul on Haywood. So Artest back to the line. Chicago Bulls with that record of 8-30. They have won 2 of the last 3, looking brighter side, they won in Atlanta on Thursday night. First road win of the season. Their first road victory since last April when they won in Philadelphia.
And they were behind in that game in Atlanta and didn't really get cooking until the second half. This is a team that's used to playing off the floor, and you know, they've been able to just keep within some sort of distance of the Wizards. Wizards are going to have to step up to win this game.
2-for-1 time for Washington. And turnover, Michael Jordan.
We're down to 45 seconds left in the half. Lou on the steal. Surprising Mercer.
Oh, they passed up a chance to get 2-for-1.
Now Jordan posting on Mercer. It's a vintage Jordan move, but not able to convert. And they get the new shot clock.
I don't think Artest is going to be able to steal the ball from Tyronn Lue out there. He should just back off.
10 seconds remaining in the half. Bad pass for Hayward. Artest right over. Get to it. And the ball back to Washington with 2 and 8/10 seconds remaining.
I thought it was more of a bad catch, bad non-catch by Hayward. That's why you throw the ball right at the guy's face.
All right, here's Leitner. Jordan off the head fake. Well, that's kind of the story of this first half. Michael 4 for 10, 8 points, awful shooting by both teams. Chicago 7 of 42, Washington 13 for 35. The end result, the Wizards 35 and the Bulls 27. Stay tuned for Had a Storm. Pat Croce, Jason Williams, and the czar, Mike Fratello, coming up on the halftime report. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm back in our studio in New York City. The halftime score in Chicago, Michael Jordan and the Washington Wizards lead in his homecoming 35-27. Just abysmal shooting by the Chicago Bulls, 7 of 42 from the field. Back here with Mike, Pat, Jason. Tough to play a legend, huh, Mike?
Well, we talked about what the emotion was going to be like today in that arena, and obviously with a very young basketball team, it has gotten to the Chicago Bulls. These are either two great defensive teams or two real bad offensive teams right now in this first half.
You know, I want to see MJ turn it on. I'm a fan. I'm watching this game because I want to see him scorch his home team there.
8 points, he has 7 rebounds, couple of assists.
This game is awful. I would have never thunk it, you know? The leading scorer for the Bulls is Ron Artest, and he's shooting 1 for 10, and he's the leading scorer.
But you know what? It's only the first half, and you never know what MJ might do in the second half.
And Dick Episode picked this game.
All right, meanwhile, also today, the Spurs and the Lakers are playing today, another game he picked. And Greg Popovich and the Spurs facing the Lakers for the first time since being swept in last year's Western Conference Finals. Early on, Kobe Bryant backing in on Charles Smith, gets it into the paint. Bryant with the hook. Lakers trailed by 2. Second quarter, Mitch Richmond hitting from long range, gives the Lakers a 2-point lead. A little bit later on, Robert Horry nailing a 3 from the corner. So the Lakers hitting their outside shots and playing without Shaquille O'Neal, who is serving the 3rd game of his suspension. The Lakers lead the Spurs at halftime 49-45. We talked a lot about those two teams in the pregame. We didn't hit on a couple of issues that we want to touch on this week. Some big news. The Charlotte Hornets leaving the hotbed of basketball in North Carolina and moving to New Orleans. What's your take on that, Jay?
Well, I think that's a bad idea. You know, Utah Jazz tried that in 1979, and it didn't work there then. You know, the household income, the average household income is $13,000 less than Charlotte. You know, and they're ranked 43rd in the market in TV. So I really don't think it's going to work out there. You know, and then, you know, all the voodoo and everything else that goes on there, you know, we got Dr. J, they have Dr. Buzzard.
Jay, man, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I hate to see them leave Charlotte. This is a basketball bed. People are great there, great fans. Look, remember back in '88 all the way through the mid-'90s, they packed 24,000 in that beehive. It was a great environment, great aura. I hate to see them go. There's going to be a lot of disappointed fans.
Let me give you the other side of some of the reason why they're leaving. They move into a brand new arena, ready to go, a couple renovations to begin with next season. They'll go right in and play their games. This is a sweetheart deal. Don't worry about the fact that they're 47th in TV market size. This deal is almost exactly the same as the New Orleans Saints deal. this financially will allow this franchise to exist there. 5,000 ticket in one day advantage.
And that might all right, also, wait, another team that may be moving. We don't know what the future is, but surprisingly, the Orlando Magic up for sale. And Pat, you have been mentioned as a potential buyer there. Is that true?
I didn't know you had that much money.
Well, I want some great minority ownership with me, and Jason, so I know you have that.
I'm minority.
So it's not true.
No, it is true that it is for sale.
No, but you're involved.
No, I haven't been approached at all, and I haven't talked to anyone around about the sale of the Orlando Magic. But that doesn't say the Orlando Magic, someone might buy them and then move them to Charlotte. Someone's going to lose out here, and it's going to be the fans. Whether it's the Charlotte fans, the Orlando fans, basketball fans who really care about their team are going to lose.
Yeah, it's tough enough to see players move, much less entire franchises.
And
Okay.
what they build an arena right now, so in the next 40 years they don't have to build another one. You know, look into the future. If you need more boxes, you need more space, you need more parking, more concessions. Every 20 years we're building a brand new arena. Them things cost $800,000.
Yeah, where's it all going to end? Okay, back with more in a moment. Our round ball round table. Jason, Pat, and Mike each get 24 seconds only to get off as many thoughts as they can about a basketball topic. 20 days now until the opening of the 19th Olympic Winter Games in Salt Lake. And the torch working its way to the Utah Capitol. Yesterday, single-season home run king Barry Bonds took it for a try. And welcome back here to our NBA studio. Time now for our fast break, the 24-second clock segment. And here's how it works. Each member of our esteemed studio panel here gets just 24 seconds to make his point about a topic. Jerry Krause, not at the game today in Chicago. What's your take on it, Jason?
Well, I think that was gutless, Hannah. I think it was disrespectful. Here goes a guy right now who carried this Chicago franchise to 6 championships. He has 5 MVPs. He comes back in town for the first time, and nobody shows up, even Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner. He goes down to Phoenix to watch his baseball team, which sucks anyway, you know? And he don't come back for the greatest athlete of our time to give him his homage. I think that's disrespectful, and if I was the David Stern, I'll find each and every one of them.
You just went over, but good point. All right, Mike, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban has been great for the Mavericks, but with his antics, could he be harmful to the franchise? Mike?
I think the question here is where should the focal point be on a Maverick owner who enjoys saying a little bit too much at times, and then at the same time you have a team that is taking a backseat to his big headlines. It's a team with young stars like Nowitzki, Finley, and Steve Nash, a terrific coaching staff. That new arena is filled with enthusiastic fans. They are going to have home court advantage come playoff time. He is making this team look like it's the second part rather than the primary part.
Okay, and Pat, biggest surprise in the NBA this season. Go.
Aside from Michael Jordan, I'd have to say the New Jersey Nets. 26 wins and I think 12 losses. They have an up-tempo, fast, entertaining game choreographed by Jason Kidd, who I think, in my estimation, is the MVP candidate of the year. They also have 2 other candidates of comeback players, Kenyon Martin and Curry Kittles, and you can flip a coin and pick either one of them, but the key is all 5 starters are scoring in double figures, and my man Todd McCullough, and they don't need you.
Why is it always former Sixers with this guy? All right, now it's the soapbox round. You guys have a chance to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, Mike.
I'll just pick up what you said. How about MVP candidates as we approach the midseason point? Do you like Kobe and Shaq in L.A.? Do you like Tim Duncan in San Antonio? How about Kevin Garnett for what he's doing in Minnesota right now? Michael Jordan taking this, Wizards franchise and resurrecting them. But I'm afraid I have to agree with you one time. The guy right now is Jason Kidd, who has taken the New Jersey Nets, and now they lead the Eastern Conference, best record. Coach could be the coach of the year right now and could be the all-star coach at all-star break time.
All right.
Byron Scott. All right, what's your point? Go.
European invasion. The European invasion, with the NBA spreading across the continents, now we have players coming into the country that we want to see. They're not on the end of the bench. It used to be Marcelonis and Petrovic and Sabonis, and then you have Divac and Kukoc. Now this whole new wave of European players, Nowitzki and Stojakovic, Turkoglu, Gasol, these guys can play some ball, fundamental ball, and they can shoot. I love it.
All right.
All right, Jason, what about you?
Well, I want to talk about the zone defense. Everybody thought they put the zone defense in for Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant center of our time, but they didn't put it in for that. You guys know what they put it in for, the slow, unathletic player who looks a lot like you guys.
Hey,
who can go over and hit the little 17 to 20-foot jumper. You know, they're taking it away because, hey, we got to let you guys play too. If not, you guys won't be in the game. They're taking it away from the slashers and the dunkers.
No, Jason, I think, though, this new zone defense is adding to the scoring. All these teams hitting over 100 points. I think it's more thrilling, more exciting, more entertaining.
Well, that brings back your point. That's why we're bringing all the foreigners in. They look just like you. Hitting that.
Well, wait a minute. How about 5 guys scoring over 50 points already this season?
Well, if you take 35 shots, you're going to make 25 of them, and that's the problem.
No, Jay, some people can, Jason.
A broken clock is right twice a day, Mike.
All right, now, I don't know how you determine the winner of this, but I feel like we should be giving out a prize. You're going to take it? I think it should go to Mike.
Okay, give it to Mike.
You better loosen it up.
A Dairy Queen hat, appropriately enough, after his comments about Mark Cuban.
Don't mess that hair up, Michael. Don't mess that hair up.
Look, is this it? Is it me or what?
All right, I think we're done. Back with more of the NBA on NBC right after this.
Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones. You see the halftime score. Guys, the Bears might outscore the Bulls the way things are going here this afternoon. Look at the shooting. Chicago 7 of 42, 17%. Washington 13 of 35, 37%. And Michael Jordan making his return to Chicago. 21 minutes, 4 for 10, 8 points.
But Marv, the pace is too slow. Nobody's running. There's just far too much dribbling. Michael Jordan, who came out early and was basking in the love fest that has turned out to salute him, to applaud him, and recognize his incredible contributions. Michael Jordan did get it going. He did take 10 shots, made 4 of them, but he was playing by himself. And in a game where the only player in double figures in the game is 1 for 10 shooting, the shot chart for Michael Jordan shows just not enough shot attempts, only 10, 4 of them going down. And Steve, I really think it's Chicago's free throw defense that's kept him in this ballgame.
Well, you want to see a three-legged horse that can't find the barn. That's what's happened with the Chicago Bulls. This is a shot chart that they like to forget about. 7 of 35, and the red does not represent money. The green.
What is a three-legged horse?
So as we head to the second half, it's the Wizards 35, the Bulls 27. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the United Center as we get ready for the second half. I'm Jim Gray. Well, I spoke to Charles Oakley, Ron Artest, and Bill Cartwright. Take the collective years of all those people. Here was the same comment from all three. It's the worst half of basketball they have ever been involved in. Bill Cartwright saying we need to take better shots. We need to get easier baskets. We need to do everything that we didn't do in the first half in the second half. Now over to Lewis Johnson.
Jim, thanks a lot. Talked to Doug Collins as he left the court right at the beginning of the half, and he looked pretty dismayed about the lack of energy and the seeming like lack of effort in the first half. He said, you know, coming into this game, he was concerned about the energy level that Michael Jordan would put out in the first half, but what he told his team inside the locker room was that there was no energy. There seemed to be no focus, that they had to come out here and simply play the game, play the ball, play the game. Marv?
Hi, Lewis. Artest off the steal with Jordan back, and he has 2 fouls. Artest forced to give it up. Sounds like 2 very happy coaches at halftime. How bad was it? Well, the Bulls at 7 of 42, 17%. The lowest field goal percentage in the history of the NBA. Artest able to score the lowest ever, 22%. Milwaukee against Minnesota at Buffalo, November of 1954. And then it was a 23% game put forth by the Chicago Bulls against Miami in April of 99.
2 straight turnovers for Michael Jordan. Maybe somebody opened up the doors here like they did in Buffalo, because it's pretty chilly outside, and that's the only way that number can hold up, Marv.
I think the zone defense is really confusing the Wizards and Michael Jordan.
Yet the Bulls, with that miserable shooting first half, trail by just 6, which tells you how well the Wizards have been doing. Popeye Jones with the rebound. Washington with Hubert Davis and Chris Whitney in the backcourt. Michael Jordan is up front with Popeye Jones and Jahidi White. Here's Davis with the teardrop. Rebound Jones.
You did not want Hubert Davis taking that type of shot. He's a off-the-ball type player. Let Whitney or Jordan create.
Kevin Ollie able to take it to the rim and draws the foul.
But if you're talking about energy, Kevin Ollie just showed you what that means. If you beat the opponent to the other end of the floor, you might be able to get a chance to get something cheap. A little steal screen, Heidi White picks up his 4th foul.
Very happy for Kevin Ollie right now. Out of Los Angeles, where he played for legendary coach Willie West, Crenshaw High School, the same high school that gave us Marcus Johnson. Willie then went on to University of Connecticut. Last year played for Philadelphia 76ers and Larry Brown. This is the first time in his career that he's ever had a guaranteed contract. Our congratulations to Kevin Ollie.
You have a gift for Kevin? Kevin Ollie is making it 6 teams in 5 years. 35-31, Wizards with the lead. Here's Popeye Jones. And the ball back to Chicago.
What center do you know that gets more touches on the ball on a rebound, but never gets the rebound? Brad Miller.
What about Irvin Johnson from Milwaukee?
No. Not even close.
Miller had a notion. This not a pretty sequence for the Chicago Bulls. Down to 6 on the shot clock.
But think about it, guys. They made, 4 points here real early, and, they're humming along. How long did it take them to get 4 in their first 24 minutes of play?
Beautiful crossover Artest.
And able to go glass. So the Wizards now lead by 2, yet to score in this 3rd quarter.
Artest plays with an edge, with a sense of anger.
Whitney from downtown.
Team's really heating up now. Consecutive baskets.
Doug Collins making the point at halftime, as reported by Lewis Johnson, that his team has shown no energy in this ball game. Offensive foul on Oakley. That's his 2nd. Both teams came out flat.
But this is a critical game for Washington. They've lost 4 straight to some very, very good teams. They go from here and play Milwaukee and Philadelphia. So difficult stretch for Jordan and the Wizards.
Artest poked that one away. Jordan had the last bounce on it. It went out of bounds. So a rough start for Jordan here in the first 3 minutes of play.
Michael coming off the 5 for 21 to the 4 for 14 of that lopsided loss to the Nets. Played only 18 minutes in that game. Sat out the entire 2nd half.
But what's unusual about this for Michael Jordan is that he is often at his best when he's coming off a subpar performance, and that has not been the case today. It's surprising.
Michael has turned it over 6 times. Hayward with the putback. And the Wizards now lead by 7. And talking with Michael earlier, I said, how frustrating is it when you have that feeling? You knew 4 or 5 years ago there were certain guys you're going up against. You knew you could just blow by them, and you have to readjust. And obviously he has readjusted his thinking.
Well, you can no longer rely on the phenomenal athleticism.
Michael is now 4 for 11 from the field. Artest from way downtown. Artest is now 3 for 13.
Now remember the questionable shot selection, and now the lid on it for Hubert Davis drive. It's really who's going to get the high percentage shot.
Well, now that's twice in a row. Chicago just comes down. The guy dribbling the ball early in the shot clock. First Artest, and then Ollie.
This is collective booing. This is directed at both teams. It's been awful basketball, as Bill Cartwright mentioned it at halftime. Chicago now 9 for 50, 18%. Whitney not able to hit. Popeye Jones able to wrestle at rebound free. Jordan passes on the 3. Jordan is fouled.
Well, the tough thing is that these fans have seen some of the best basketball ever played. And coming back here after the 4-year absence, the same people are all here. And it's great to see them, but they want to see some action out here. And not just fouls, not just free throws.
Well, Michael is now 0 for 3 from the field. Mentioned earlier that Michael has been able to bounce back after bad games. Well, to this point, he has not been able to.
Well, I think the best thing about Jordan this year has been his resiliency, the ability to absorb bad games and still be consistent with his play. Everybody thought he was going to come in here, be a 50-point afternoon, but he's just trying to fight through and find a way to help his team get a win, and that will really be the most important thing for him if the Wizards do get the win.
Nobody seems to be giving him any help out there.
Offensive foul on Brad Miller. So that's his third personal.
Delay of game.
How can you knock Brendan Haywood over like that? This guy's 7 feet tall, weighs about 250 pounds, just a stud.
Whitney using the pick, and it is an illegal pick. Foul is called. Offensive foul. Hubert Davis extending the elbow and setting the screen.
Game's got a good flow to it right now.
Wizards 41, Bulls 33. 5 minutes gone by, third quarter. Five on the shot clock. Down to 2. Miller. An air ball, 24-second violation.
Artest gets his hands on a lot of balls, and, you know, he's also got an official shirt on. He does a lot of pointing around out there, you know, trying to get the calls to the Bulls, but...
Now Kevin Ollie defending on Michael Jordan. Michael able to extend, goes to the hang time on the jumper, so he has 11 points.
But a good job by Jordan that time, realizing he's having difficulty with Artest, run a little interchange with Whitney and force a switch. He can abuse Ollie when he gets to the free throw line area.
Ollie working off the pick. Artest played by Jordan. They double up on Miller. And a foul is called. It is on Haywood. Timeout is taken with 5:50 to go in the third. And Washington leading Chicago by 10. Michael Jordan now 5 for 12, 11 points. The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Spectacular move by Michael Jordan. And for the Chicago Bulls, that's the first of their 6 NBA championships. Bulls won that series 4 games to 1. You recall the Lakers won game 1, and then the Bulls swept right through.
And the last time we really saw Magic at the top, coming out party that year for Jordan and Scottie Pippen, who established themselves as 2 of the greatest defensive players of all time in that series.
Well, Bill, you've been calling for Tyson Chandler. Here he is. 19-year-old, 7'1", 235 pounds, #1 draft pick. He's come on for the first time. So Chandler and Miller, 2 big men for Chicago, as Mercer is able to hit. Mercer now has 6 points, and the Wizards lead 43-35.
Now remember yesterday, Chandler told us, I'm coming in the ball game to give some energy, whatever the coach wants me to do. So let's see if he runs faster, jumps higher, and gets in the way defensively more than Charles Oakley was doing.
Jordan. And he's fouled. Artest got a piece of it. Or was it Mercer? Apparently Mercer, who came over to help, was called for the foul. Jordan wanted to make certain it's a shooting foul. Although Michael has struggled at the line, just 1 for 4.
Well, it can't be the pressure. I mean, this guy is so accustomed to having all the responsibility on his shoulders, and he still continues to miss.
You know, he did not push that peak performance command button this afternoon, and Bill, maybe you better run out and tell him, you're the guy that can do it.
I'm stunned.
And most unusual to see Jordan having his problems at the line. 2 for 6 from the line. He did not shoot well, as we talked about earlier, against San Antonio, missing 6 free throws earlier in the week. 44-35, Wizards with the lead. 5 minutes. Oh, it's picked off by Jones. Just under 5 remaining in the third.
Brendan Haywood did a nice job defensively helping Jordan.
Artest had no idea what he wanted to do offensively and just coughed it up.
Wizards get back, and a foul is called. A holding foul in the backcourt on Haywood, who apparently reached out for Miller.
This is an easy target. And, you know, he looks like a guy that gets beat up every night. Even though he ducked at the right time against Shaq, he takes a lot of blows on the inside.
Some feel he gives as good as he gets.
And it's lost by Mercer. The ball back to Washington. Taking a look at Chicago shooting thus far. Artest 3 for 13. Miller 1 for 10. Mercer 3 for 9. Eddie Robinson 0 for 5 in the first half.
Artest doing a good job denying Jordan's possession of the ball. Jordan has to just walk away to the weak side.
Shot clock down to 4. Popeye Jones launching. Popeye just 2 for 10, but he bailed out the Wizards with the shot clock running down.
Popeye Jones, the last victory that the Wizards had, Popeye Jones was instrumental. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers. Jones's offensive contributions down the stretch were magnificent.
Foul out Davis. That is his third. Eddie Robinson checking back in.
Bulls heating up here in the third.
They had a 12-point first quarter, 15-point second quarter, season low 27 points in the first half. Robinson, played by Jordan. Jordan with the rejection.
Classic example of why you don't jump in the air thinking pass. Eddie Robinson, who admittedly is a little rusty, having missed the vast majority this season with that broken sesamoid bone in his left foot.
The worst thing about it for the Bulls in the last couple of possessions, whether it be Mercer, Artest, or Robinson, they have not had a good idea of what they wanted to do, and they're trying to make a play when there is no play, and they're fortunate to get a jump ball here. Jordan out of the ball game, and Nesby quietly sneaks in. You don't call him a hopeless gunner, do you?
No, I call him the master of discipline.
Bill observing Tyrone Nesby as a Clipper over the years. Ollie able to get to that tip. He's picked up on the switch by Nesby. Mercer, nice move, came up short, and a loose ball foul on the Wizards.
Popeye Jones was out of position because he had to help deny the penetration to Ron Mercer, and then he trying to get back, he was just forced to grab and hold Tyson Chandler.
And here is Tyson Chandler, acquired from the Clippers in a much-discussed trade for Elton Brand, a huge gamble by Bulls general manager Jerry Krause. Tyson, the second pick overall by the Clippers. Incidentally, Jerry Krause not here. The Bulls say that he's on the West Coast scouting. Wizards up by 10. 3:20 remaining in the third quarter. Whitney. Chris Whitney with the off-balance shot.
Tough shot by Whitney, but, you know, they need every point that they can get. You saw that graphic of Jordan. The most glaring thing, 6 turnovers. I mean, he's had a tough time, really, with his decision-making this afternoon.
Now that's a tough shot.
Robinson now 0 for 6 from the field.
When was the last time Eddie made that shot?
Last year, against the Miami Heat.
Missed that one, sorry.
Whitney and Ollie involved in that. And the foul is called on Ollie. Offensive foul. Timeout taken. We'll be back in a moment. To this point, it has been a disappointing homecoming for Michael Jordan. 6 turnovers equaling a season high, 3 in the third quarter.
And how frustrating for a guy who prides himself on these special opportunities here. Michael Jordan just not getting it done in any aspect of this game. But this year he has had some good, some bad, and today has been a little bit of the ugly. Games against Charlotte, New Jersey, and Utah. Huge point production for a man 38, the oldest player in NBA history to ever get 50-plus points. But today will not be one up to this point that he will think back of fondly.
Comes in averaging 24 points per game. That's 8th. And the NBA has not shot well recently. Nice fake by Jordan, but met on the switch. Holmberg came over. Here's Whitney for 3.
Well, that's the guy that's making the difference. He's come in and with that 3-point field goal, it's 2 1/4. He's got 8 points. And all you need in a game that's shooting as poorly as this one is one guy to get hot.
It's been the guard, Whitney in the third, and it was Tyronn Lue in the second quarter that have kept the Wizards comfortably in front.
Shot clock to 5. Miller facing the double. Kept alive by Robinson. Here's Mercer on a quick release.
Not good use of the shot clock.
Holmberg from way downtown. Chicago shooting 17% from the field. Jordan with another turnover. Miller fanned on that outlet. Holmberg was able to get to it. Here is Mercer again. This is unbelievable.
Well, the Blues are starting to cascade down, and, you know, they just can't see why these guys can't do better.
The Bulls are on their way, as Michael is not able to get the hop, on their way to challenging the all-time NBA record for worst shooting game, which is a shade under 23% back in November of 1954. They are now under 16% for the game. They're 10 of 59. Jordan called for the foul. That is his third. Incidentally, the NBA record low in terms of field goals in a game, 18. They have only 10. So
you're talking about challenging the records? They're going to shatter the records.
Well, another quarter to go, plus a minute 13 remaining here in the third.
I think we also have to look at the fewest points ever scored, which is in the mid-50s. And the Bulls only have 37 at this point.
Mercer comes out, and the one thing about Mercer, he's going to keep shooting as long as he's out there on the floor. So Cartwright is trying to find somebody that will pass and cut and move and get him some better chances.
Fewest points in a game this season, 56. Miami against Utah in mid-December.
Well, 2 and 3 are out there. That adds up to 23. Curry and Chandler. Let's see how they play together.
Michael Jordan with 14 points.
He stole that pass. That pass was for Brendan Haywood. Now that tells you how bad it is for Jordan, taking 2 points away from Haywood.
It's a 15-point Washington lead. Holmberg coming up short. Fewest points in a game all time. Did you ask, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah. 49. Chicago against Miami. 49? 99. Yeah. Christian Laettner making his return today.
They had 49 points in a 48-minute game.
Yeah. Curry on the...
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
They were playing 48 minutes, I believe, in 99. Yeah.
Bring the hot hand back in. Whitney comes back in. Haywood goes out. May as well, since Jordan's taking his shots.
Coming up on 20 seconds remaining in the third.
Doug Collins told Jordan to be aware of the clock, trying to make something happen.
Pass, but Laettner not able to finish. Foul is called. Good setup from Jordan. Foul on Chandler.
Beautiful baseline move by Michael Jordan. The spin, the drop step, and it comes right into drawing all the defenders there. And Christian Laettner, first game back in a month, you just no way you're ever going to have your legs underneath you at that point.
Laettner, an 86% free throw shooter.
And let me remind you, that was a layup. You don't need your legs.
You need your legs for every time. Michael Jordan walking off the court that time. A little exchange with Doug Collins, and they are both having a little bit of a laugh here at this performance.
Well, they can laugh because they're up by 16, although it has been just a bad ball game.
Don't go on the limb here.
Obviously. Coming up on 10 seconds remaining in the third. Curry. And that will wrap it for the third quarter. Chicago staying on pace. 10 for 61 at 17%. And it's the Wizards 55 and the Bulls 38. That's after 3. We'll be right back after these words from your local station.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other dissemination or use of this telecast, or of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Don't give the mini life right now. Hey, go to the basket, no touch, 3-point plays. That shot goes up, we rebound the basketball. Everybody on the boards now. Everybody on the glass.
Coach Doug Collins talking to his club. That man would make an excellent color commentator. Michael Jordan sitting down as this fourth quarter gets underway. Michael is 6 of 14, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, but a season high 7 turnovers. That is not a pretty line score, particularly for the Bulls.
It's tough to win when you get outscored in every quarter, but when you're down by 17 and you haven't had 17 in a quarter yet, very difficult to come all the way back.
The rookie Hassel not able to hit. Chicago is 10 for 62 from the field.
Staying with the zone defense here.
Well, they've got a lot of young players out on the floor right now. 3 first-year players.
Well, Hassel is on the floor. Curry, Chandler, Robinson, and Hoiberg.
Do you get the sense, Mark, that when Eddie Robinson gets the ball, that it's going up?
And he comes off a strong game of the win in Atlanta the other night. 8 for 12, 16 points in 17 minutes. This only his 6th game of the season.
What they're trying to do against the clock is make them a perimeter team and then come back and find a way to score. Now, Hoiberg can shoot the ball, but he's got to, get a good look at it, and he hasn't had that chance this afternoon. But for the Bulls, they got to find somebody that can make a basket.
The grimace on Doug Collins after those last 2 shots by Tyronn Lue.
The futility continues with Robinson. Only the 11th field goal for Chicago. Wizards up by 15 points. Michael Jordan will check back in just a moment. They double up on Leitner, leading to the turnover.
Well, Collins is taking no chances. With Jordan out on the floor, at least something he thinks good is going to happen.
Robinson with 2 in a row.
Problem is that against his zone defense, Tyronn Lue has been trying to get the ball to Christian Laettner at the high post where you want to attack, but the passes have been slow and floating passes as opposed to crisp. There's a good crisp one.
Washington about to make wholesale changes. Laettner, Jordan, Jones, and Whitney all over the scorer's table.
Confounding logic on some of their player and ball movements from Washington.
Eddie Curry. And suddenly a hot streak for the Bulls.
We're no longer in record-breaking territory.
Wizards now lead 55-44 with 9:22 remaining in the fourth. The 6'11", 19-year-old Eddie Curry able to knock it down.
Come on, guys. too hard now. We work too hard.
Well, Doug Collins upset with what he has seen these past couple of minutes. The Bulls have hit their last 3 shots, and it's a 55-44 Washington lead.
The Wizards were lulled into sleep here. Now they've got to come back with their starting lineup here and try to wake back up.
Well, I mean, they're still ahead. It's just a question of whether they're going to make some shots.
Well, Hubert Davis does just that from downtown. Only his second field goal, 5 points for Davis. And the Wizards now lead 58-44. 3 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter. Eddie Robinson touches and fires.
I think that's a heat check. Yeah, he made a couple of shots and might as well try an impossible shot.
You know, they have Chandler Curry inside, and they don't get to play the ball inside. You know, as long as the Wizards are going to be a perimeter team, they still have a chance with this much time left on the clock to get another one of those flaming runs going, and they could be back in it. But Cartwright puzzled.
Bill Cartwright saying at the half that was the worst basketball he has ever seen in his NBA career. I don't know if he's changed his opinion in the second half.
Come on, they made 3 straight baskets.
And as we mentioned at the start of the telecast, the Bulls have been showing some signs. They've won 2 of the last 3, 4, and 7 under Cartwright, which is a degree of progress when your overall record is 8-30.
They've been playing a lot better basketball. We just haven't seen any of it today after the horrific start. How many did they miss in a row at the beginning of the game?
13 misses right at the start.
The decision-making continues.
Another turnover by Jordan on a reach-in by Robinson. That's 8 turnovers for Michael.
Michael was saying,
Davis off that bad pass, feeding Jordan. And Michael going to take it to the rim.
Well, Michael was barking at Popeye Jones on that turnover, the previous play, that when somebody's coming up your backside, it's your responsibility to be hollering out to your teammate, hey, someone's coming.
Robinson. Robinson. So the Wizards now lead 60-46, 7 minutes to play in the fourth. Here's Davis for 3. So Hubert Davis, after the slow start, heating up. It has not been pretty when you look at it from the Washington point of view. They have not shot well. It has not been one of Michael's better games, obviously. But you know Doug Collins really wants the victory here today, which would equal the win total for all of last season. And this is game 2 of a 3-game road trip with a very difficult schedule to follow. Michael Jordan, now 7 of 16 for 16 points.
It's a bad looking uniform on him, for one thing. You know, I mean, the colors don't suit him very well. It doesn't hang on him quite as well as it did when he was in Bull colors. So, you know, that's just something he'll have to live with. Michael knows he's a Bull. He'll always be a Bull. And he'll always be the #1 player in the world.
Bill Cartwright, one-time teammate of Michael Jordan here in Chicago. Bill played 6 years for the Bulls, member of 3 Chicago NBA championship teams.
He doesn't want to be a Bull in this game. So all of those games you want to pull out, he'll be glad he's not in this one. They've only made 14 field goals.
14 of 70, up to 20%. 17% shooting at the half. Shot clock at 5. Robinson. He's picked it up. 3 for 10 now, 6 points for Robinson.
And you're Ron Mercer, and you're saying, Coach, you took me out for shooting like that, and now you're letting him stay in.
Jordan had it poked away by Hoiberg. Robinson with Davis back. Oh! What a pass. Some contact, yes.
What a pass. His teammate. pointing out Eddie Robinson's proclivity to pass that ball, particularly on the break.
Jordan, 9 turnovers.
And a turnover. Gilbert Davis. That is a season high for Michael Jordan with 9 turnovers.
Ron Artest just checked into the game and didn't know who he was replacing. That's inexcusable.
Well, get anybody. It doesn't make any difference at this stage. I mean, Doug Collins.
You know who he took out? He said to Eddie Robinson, I can get some more shots if Eddie goes to the bench.
Pfizer is stripped. 7 on the shot clock.
Doug is losing his mind over there. He is up and down. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. And it's like they don't hear him. We can win this game, and they need a win.
Wizards have lost their last 4. New 24 for the Bulls.
Jordan and Artest in the post.
Artest. Oh, look out. Artest in a collision with Jones and a foul against the Wizards. Popeye picks up number 4.
And I guarantee you the guy he was bouncing around was Brad Miller. Miller's in there trying to get a rebound. What happened to that weight training you told me he did? Because it doesn't look like it's helping him at all.
Fred's had a tough day shooting. Wasn't playing much when Greg Anthony was running the show.
Who in white hasn't had a tough day of shooting?
I think the toughest thing.
Well, a lot of records on the line. And the Chicago Bulls have several possibilities to make their way in terms of a dubious distinction into the record books.
Now these are all-time records?
Yes. Well, it won't be the lowest scoring game ever. You see they surpassed the 49-point game. Chicago against Miami back in April of '99. Here's Jordan. So Michael is now 7 for 17. The one that is in sight is the field goal percentage. Bulls have a good shot at it. Artest. Not only guys missing, but we're looking at not hitting rim, high off glass.
And that has to be the most disconcerting thing for Bill Cartwright and the Bulls fans who coming in today after the big victory against the Lakers, the emotional charge, they got the first road victory of the season finally. And now they just come out, the whole world watching, and they stink it up.
Well, next Saturday at 2 Eastern, right here on NBC, Charles and Marion's, yes, winter exchange. As Charles Barkley and Marion Jones trade in, it says right here, their summer gear for ice skates and downhill skis. They'll try their hand at some of the Winter Olympic sports that you will see in the upcoming Salt Lake Games. Charles and Marion's winter exchange next Saturday, 2 Eastern on NBC.
I'm sure Charles is outstanding at all the winter sports. I would love to see him on skates and skis.
Just under 4 remaining in the fourth quarter. 12-point Washington lead. Here's Marcus Pfizer. And the outside official, Don Vaden, with the call away from the ball. It's on the Bulls. It's on Artest. Lowest field goal percentage of all time. Right now, as I mentioned, Chicago on target. The Bucks just under 23%. That was the game played in Buffalo that we talked about earlier. That was back in 1954.
Now, did you do that game, Marv?
Why did I think you might pose that question?
Well, I've just been listening to you do these games for so long.
A double foul on Artest and Jordan.
Well, Jordan not backing down, and, you know, they're banging and popping each other pretty good, and that was a pretty good pork chop that Jordan laid on him, but Artest is really stronger than Jordan, muscling him out of the way.
Pfizer back working his way on Jones. Olive. Kept alive by Pfizer. Nice pass. Miller is stripped by Haywood. Good play.
I told you, nobody loses more inside than Brad Miller. Pretty good pass, but again, they come up dry, and that's just been the story of the Bulls for the afternoon, and the Wizards have just been a hair down. Jordan has not made a shot since he came back in the ballgame.
And we saw this earlier in the year, that jump shot looking very flat. Kevin Ollie picked up the foul. His third. Washington by 12. It has not been one of the better performances this season for Michael Jordan, although an emotional return back to Chicago, greeting longtime Bulls fan Carmen Villafane, special friend of Michael Jordan as a Bull. It's part of Michael's ritual when he would enter the arena. And then the thunderous ovation as Ray Clay on the public address introduced Michael. And that lasted a good 4 minutes. Had the lights not dimmed,
they cut him off. They cut it off. The fans,
Bulls.
they might still be cheering.
And that would have been the best thing about this one, the beginning. Because it's been a struggle for Jordan and the Wizards and everybody that's played in this game this afternoon. A couple of three-pointers by Davis has given them breathing room, and, you know, it's been the Bulls' ineptness the entire game.
Artest is not slowing down at all. Popeye Jones able to keep it alive.
Well, you see, he gets in front of him and puts that big body on him and makes it tough for Jordan to get started. Could be a foul.
Foul is called on Artest. Meanwhile, Jordan has missed his last 5 shots. He is now 7 for 21 from the field. And Artest is fouled out. Bill Cartwright, Michael Jordan, a little friendly pushing and shoving.
Michael will have a good laugh at this one only because they won this game. Artest certainly not happy at all after fouling out with 14 points.
3 of 15 from the field.
The All-Star game is going to have to wait for Ron, I think.
Ron said earlier in the week he feels he is on the verge of being an All-Star. Shot clock down to 2, down to 1. Here's Whitney. Yes.
Boy, it's a good thing they brought guards with them for this game, because Whitney, Lou, and Davis have made the difference in winning it.
Whitney 10 points. Davis with 8. Lou hit 8 points. Miller is fouled. And we're talking about field goal attempts and the possibility of the Bulls headed to a futility record in that department. And you are not charged with a shot attempt when you're fouled as Brad Miller goes to the line. That would make it even worse, because right now the Bulls are 16 of 81 from the field, which is 19.8%, which is well on the way to an all-time NBA low. The all-time low, just under 23% in a Milwaukee contest against Minnesota, played in Buffalo, November of 1954. Our crack statistician, Elliot Calv, Mr. Stats, digging deep into the record books for that one.
But you feel bad for Bill Cartwright, because he really wants this job, and he really wants to get this thing going. And this has not been a performance representative of his professionalism.
Foul was called on Mercer. Look at Doug Collins as he watched the flight of the ball on Chris Whitney's shot.
And he's winning.
Yes.
But remember, Bill, Mr. Bill asked for the job. So there should be no pity or mercy tossed in that direction. You know exactly what you have. Your team could fall to this low state. The best thing is they can't do anything else but get better. I mean, how bad do the Lakers feel? They lost to these guys.
Brad Miller sitting down 1 of 11 from the field. Artest 3 for 15. Mercer 4 for 14. Robinson 3 of 10. Marcus Pfizer And the Wizards now lead 67-55. Fewest points in a game this season, 56 by Miami back in December. That appears to be the only factor at stake as we come up on a minute remaining in this fourth quarter.
What's the record for most turnovers in a game?
We'll put the staff on it.
They're a long way from it, though, Bill.
Kevin Ollie using the pick.
Who would have thought that the fans would empty out well before the game even came close to being over?
And Mercer from downtown, so the Bulls will not go down with the lowest score of the season. Pfizer on the foul.
You know, they just discovered what they've been doing the whole game. They've been shooting inside the line. You know, if they'd stepped back and been shooting those threes earlier, just think how many points Mercer would have by now.
Steve, the Chicago Bulls are the 28th best free throw shooting team, or three-point shooting team in the 29-team league.
What do you say? I mean, I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about for the whole year. I mean, since their free throw line defense has helped to keep them in the game, anything could happen today.
We have seen just about everything today.
Mentioned turnovers. Washington with 22, Chicago with 16. Michael Jordan with 9 of those 22 turnovers. It has not been a pretty picture here at both ends. But the Wizards will come away with their 19th win of the season. Ollie with the bucket and a foul. Last year, Washington won their 19th and final game on April the 13th.
I think, you know, everyone thought with the combination of Collins and Jordan, they would win more than 19 games. It was a question then in everybody's mind, is this a team good enough with Jordan to make the playoffs? And that is going to be the big story as we watch the rest of the season unfold for the Wizards.
If Jordan stays healthy, they will make the playoffs.
Now, you're going to stand by that.
And that's what makes this so frustrating for all the Bulls loyalists. Because the Bulls have been trying desperately to find some sort of hope, some sort of place where they can hang their hat and say, we got direction, now it's happening. And there was a sense of that when Cartwright took the job, but today we've really seen nothing.
Now, Marv, we're going to hold them to it. Today is the 19th. Remember when we did
over 500, they're in the playoffs if they started today.
Can I finish? Remember when we were in Washington and the Wizards played and you said Michael Jordan should never pump fake. He's already changed his mind. And now I want to write this down. On the 19th, you said they will make the playoffs. We got a lot of the second half of the season to go, and I don't want to hear you waffle.
Steve makes a valid point, though.
I totally disassociate myself from everything he just said.
46 seconds remaining of the game, and the Wizards lead 71-61. Pfizer for three.
See, they should have been shooting threes the whole game.
That's only his 4th three-pointer of the season. It's a 7-point lead, and the foul again is called on Ollie with Chicago over the limit once again. Wizards head to the line. Looking ahead for the Wizards, a difficult schedule coming up. They'll complete the road trip in Minnesota on Monday, and then Tuesday night back home for Philadelphia. First of 4 straight at home. They still have the 2 West Coast trips coming up.
Minnesota is playing terrific ball. You look at the numbers, and they have become the best offensive team in basketball, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
For those of you following the fortunes of the field goal percentage of the Chicago Bulls, it is now 20 of 85. They are 24%. And that record backing off. Now it's for Mercer. And a 73-67 game with 26 seconds remaining. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Steve Jones from the United Center in Chicago. Just 26 and 5/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter in what has been a horrendous shooting display. The Wizards lead the Bulls 73-67. How's that for a welcome? We'll be right back. It has not been one of the better performances of the season for Michael Jordan. 7 for 21, 16 points. He's turned it over 9 times. And the Washington Wizards with a 73-67 lead on the Chicago Bulls. The foul given by Ali, and he is fouled out. I think Michael was having his shooting difficulties. Look at this. Although the Bulls are on fire the last couple of minutes, they've hit their last 5. They were on pace for the all-time lowest field goal percentage in a game. That record is held by the Milwaukee Bucks. They did it back in 1954, but now Chicago has elevated up to 24%.
Well, one thing that Bill Cartwright has learned in his early coaching career is how to drag out a bad ball game. His strategy now is to foul, give them 2, try to come back and get another 3. They've had 4 3-point field goals here to make this a respectable loss. I mean, they're within 7, and, you know, they've been torching the Wizard defense here of late.
What is a respectable loss? Still trying to figure that one out.
8 to 10 points. Coach can live with that. He'll sleep well tonight.
All right, Holberg with the move around Jones. Little head fake by Fred Holberg. 75-69. It's a 6-point game, and once again the foul is given. The clock is stopped. We're down to 16 and 7/10 seconds remaining. So the Bulls, who scored only 38 points the first 3 quarters, have now scored 31 here in the fourth.
Say it again, 31 in the fourth?
Washington fell asleep.
No, you know what it is? It's the time of the game. I think they thought the game was starting at about 2 o'clock Central.
Yeah.
Now, Whitney steps up, and, you know, he's going to take advantage of all these cheap points. But, you know, their idea is to go 3 for 2, stop the clock with a foul.
Whitney 9 for 9 at the line. He now has 20 points. He is the high man of the game.
Playing beautifully, Whitney, off of Michael Jordan's creativity.
77-69. Robinson for 3. Pfizer able to keep it alive. Pfizer for 3s. Hit 2 of them. Final seconds. And that, folks, will do it.
Mercifully.
The Wizards 77, the Bulls 69. In a moment, we'll be chatting with Michael Jordan. Wizards win their 19th game of the season. They stop the losing streak at 4. Chicago concludes 22 of 89, just under 25% from the field. Among the worst ever in NBA history, but not the worst. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad and Michael Jordan.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. This was a very ugly basketball game, but the most important thing when you're playing a game like this is to make sure that you're winning.
It is. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game. Yeah, I think both teams were pretty much hyped, wanted to play well. You know, a lot's been made about the game. Me personally, I didn't play particularly well, but, you know, we won the game. We could somehow find a way to win the game, and, you know, that means most, you know, come back and win the game. But it's tough playing here. You know, I almost feel guilty playing against, you know, with the fans and, you know, the appreciation that they paid to me early in the game. It's tough playing in front of them.
I know that you had some thoughts about when you came in, whether you'd get booed or if they cheered for you, but a wonderful ovation when they introduced you. What was going through your mind?
Well, it was great appreciation. I mean, it's so hard playing against, you know, such respectful fans. I mean, they've cheered for me for, you know, my whole career pretty much, and I just don't feel right playing against them. And, you know, tonight I didn't play particularly well, but, you know, the team won.
Do you think you will ever be separated from the Chicago Bulls? I mean, you became MJ, great basketball player as a Chicago Bull. Now you're at the Washington Wizards. Will you ever be separated from this team?
No, I don't think I'm going to ever be separated. I mean, I have too many memories to try to forget, you know, when I leave here. You know, I think we're always going to be connected somehow, some way. You know, even though I'm working for another franchise, somehow I'm always going to be connected with the Bulls.
Let's talk about how you're feeling about yourself these days. days. Coming to this point, how would you equate your playing at this point?
Well, obviously, I've been, maybe trying to do a little bit more than what I should because without two big guys. But, we're going to get those guys back, and I think that's going to take some of the pressure off of me, and, hopefully we can find a better rhythm to play. We had not been playing with great rhythm, and, we need to find rhythm to get ourselves back in the winning column.
How about for you personally?
I'm not really happy the way I've been playing. I haven't been shooting the ball particularly well, and I just think everybody goes through these periods. I think I'm going through a period now where I'm not shooting the ball particularly well, and I'm not really comfortable. My rhythm's not quite the same, but I know that happens in the course of a long season. I figure I'll find it out.
So I bet it's nice to get this one game off your shoulder, huh?
It's good to get 19 wins this early.
All right, congratulations. All right, back to you, Marv.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Yes, 19 wins equals the Wizards' win total for all of last season. Michael Jordan in his return, only 7 of 21. 16 points, 11 rebounds, but turned it over 9 times. Again, the final score from Chicago. Wizards 77, the Bulls 69. The NBA and NBC returns next Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern Time with doubleheader action. The Knicks and the Bucks, followed by the Jazz and the Kings. Coming up tonight at 8 Eastern on NBC, Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube in the suspense thriller Anaconda. Then at 10, join Bob Costas as Allstate presents the All-Star Olympic Salute. For Bill Walton, Steve Jones, Jim Gray, and Lewis Johnson, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Chicago.